Hello everyone, welcome to the online lecture series of Vehicle Testing and Homologation. I am Milan Trivedi, professor at LG Institute of Engineering and Technology. So up till now in the lecture series of Vehicle Testing and Homologation, we had finished with the 4 chapters. Now let me start the 5th chapter. 5th chapter is Road and Track Testing. As the name suggests, we are going to talk about the different track testing, different condition of road. But apart from that, there are more other theories are also included in this 5th chapter, which is actually not relevant to the title of the chapter, but still it is included. Let us start with one of that theory. The first theory in this 5th chapter is the inspection part. As the name suggests, inspection is actually the overall checking of the vehicle. We need to check that vehicle is okay or not, but that is common or general definition of the inspection. The type of inspection or the definition of inspection which is included in this particular topic is somewhat different, right? So let us have an understanding of that with this classification of inspection. Basically, we are having 4 different types of inspection as far as vehicle inspection is concerned. The first category is called as an initial inspection. Inspection of the vehicle is the first inspection which is done by the RTO. Whenever we are issuing a number for the car, RTO is going for the initial inspection, right? They just check the VIN number and all that thing, and they will certify that this car can be used for 15 years, right? That is our first type of inspection. Obviously, one question will arise after having understanding of homologation, why this is required, right? So, homologation definition was somewhat different. Homologation was suggesting that particularly testing agencies were doing the inspection and testing part. But in the case of RTO inspection, they are just roughly checking the VIN number and the model, etc. Right? And they will issue the permission for initial 15 years. Right? So that is initial inspection. Second category is a renewal inspection. Renewal inspection is when the 15 years term has been finished, we need to go for the second inspection, second time inspection. That is a renewal inspection. Third category of inspection is the modification inspection. Whenever we are making certain changes in respect to the length, width, or height of the vehicle, we need to undertake that vehicle again for the inspection purpose at the RTO, so that does not make any problem, right? So that is a modification inspection. Right? And the fourth, last one but not least, that is the roadside inspection. Normally we face this problem. It's just a case study. Some years ago, one of the limousine kind of car was trapped in between the road, was locked in between the road. The reason was that they had not cleared the modification inspection, because this limit has been set by the inspection committee to permit the vehicle in the our Indian road condition, right? And if you are not fulfilling that, then definitely penalty will be imposed, right? So the fourth kind of inspection is the roadside inspection. Okay, mostly again RTO officers are also working in this particular domain. If permission has been not taken, then they can detain that particular vehicle. Apart from that, roadside inspection some of the time also inspect for the cars which has been imported, right? The imported car is also required to pass through the initial inspection process, right? If it is not there, it can be detained on the roadside. Fine. So these are the 4 different types of inspection as far as our vehicle inspection is concerned. Our next topic is the PDI. In general, we are calling it as a pre-delivery inspection. If you are going to work in the workstations or some of the showroom, you are definitely going to come across this particular word very often, right? So have a better understanding of this pre-delivery inspection. In most of the case, we are just knowing this by abbreviation itself, that is PDI. In exam also it has been asked like this, what is PDI? So first of all, we need to have idea about the full form, that it stands for pre-delivery inspection. Now, first of all, let us understand who do this particularly PDI, that is pre-delivery inspection. A lot of misconception is there between who actually performs this PDI. Pre-delivery inspection is normally performed by the dealer. Car dealer performs this kind of pre-delivery inspection before handing over that particular car to the customer. It is the requirement or it is the duty of the particular dealer to have this pre-delivery inspection. They had to issue this pre-delivery certificate. They need to tick mark all the criteria which is given in the PDI sheet. After that only the dealer can hand over car to the customer. If any of the criteria is not fulfilled, then dealer can be blamed. Okay, so dealer performs this pre-delivery inspection. What basically they performs? They check for the odometer. Whenever they are handing a new car to the customer, it is not required that the reading on the odometer must be equal to 0, because it is not possible. We need to drive a car from at least the storehouse to the showroom area, right? So must be driven at least 20-25 kilometer. That is okay, but some of the time it may happen that car is driven more. So what is the exact limit for that odometer? The limit for that odometer is set at about 100 kilometer, right? It should not be more than that. If it is more than that, customer can deny to accept that particular vehicle. Okay, so it is the duty of dealer to check the reading of the odometer. Another thing is you need to go for the or the dealer need to go for the 360-degree examination. That is overall checking of the vehicle, just to check the dent, scratch, or any other thing, or for the cleanliness purpose. Next is to check the vehicle identification number. Obviously, there is no number plate as it is new vehicle, so we need to rely on this VIN number itself, that the promised car to the customer is been delivered or not. So whenever customer book a car, first of all, then VIN number is issued, right? So that we need to check the allotted VIN number of customer is equal to the car VIN number or not. Later onward, need to check for the conditions of the mirrors, windows, operation of the windows if it is power operated. Need to check the hydraulics of boot. Nowadays, almost all the cars are coming up with the hydraulics in the boot area, right? So we need to check for that it is working or not, because many of the times some of the issues faced are like that, the leakage of hydraulic fluid at the connecting part of this boot space. Fine. So we need to check for that. Another thing is the remote and manual locking. If it is manually operated, then also we need to check if it is working or not. And if it is remote operated, all the things need to be ensured. Next, to check the ABC pedals. This is the main criteria. Accelerated brake, clutch pedals. All these pedals must be in proper condition, must be properly operated, right? So that was all about the PDI. Now let us discuss one small topic, that is the engine durability. Now talking about the engine durability, we actually need to have idea that how much our vehicle sustain, or what is the longevity of the vehicle. So in order to check that engine durability, the test which we are performing is to note down the fracture part. If some of the parts are subjected to very often wear and tear, we need to go for this checking of fracture. And a lot of fracture tests are available that has been tested. Another aspect is the thermomechanical failures, right? This thermomechanical word indicates that some of the mechanical part which is subjected to the heat, right? So because of that high heat generation, this part has been affected, right? And if it is affected for very prolonged period, then obviously the chances of failure would be increased, right? So we need to check for the thermomechanical failures, at what temperature it is failing out. The next check in the engine durability is to have checking of cavitation in the cylinder liner, fuel system, and cooling system. These are actually some of the criteria which is affected after a very long period of usage, right? But we need to find out that after how many time of usage this has been worn out, or this has been out of application. Fine. Next thing, we have heard that every part is coming up with certain years of warranty. So this warranty part has been defined as per this durability checking. Next is the ABC pedals condition, accelerated brake clutch pedals conditions. Next, we need to check for the wear and lubricant oil, exhaust gas recirculation, turbocharger condition, and the tribology. We all know about this wear and lubricant oil that must be ensured properly. If it is being used, what is the life of that? After how much period of cycle we need to replace this oil, that we need to check. Exhaust gas recirculation is proper or not, that can be checked. The ideal condition of pump which is recirculating should be ensured. Turbocharger, if it is placed, then it is creating a lot of issues after certain years of application. So need to ensure the life of that turbocharger. And last part in this engine durability checking is the tribology part. This tribology word is actually standing for the study of the vibrations, right? So we need to check after how many number of usage of that particular engine vibrations is getting started. Right? This all comes under the engine durability checking. Now let us take one small topic in between, very easy topic. But although we are GTO asked this number of times, that is what is intensive driving, right? If this word has been asked, then you might don't get any idea about this. But for a hint, I had written one subscript that whenever intensive driving arrives, it means that a good driving habit, right? So how to develop that particular intensive driving habit? First thing, we need to have proper indications. Driver must indicate properly. It is been said that whenever you are taking turn, at least start indicating before 5 seconds. Right? Next is to look around. We need to look around all through three mirrors. Then we need to take decision. Then don't bend the rules. Whatever rules are there in that particular country, we need to check for that. Say, for example, we prefer left lane drive. So need to be ensure that thing. Last one, that is have a carefulness. We need to be observation must be proper so that accident won't happen. So these are some of the simplest thing you can easily write down at your own also. So intensive driving, but the thing we need to remember, it is about the carefulness driving. Our next topic is the hill climbing. Hill climbing is, we all know that it is somewhat similar to this gradability. Whenever we are traveling across the slope, the hill climbing word arrives. Okay. Let me, first of all, step hills are considered to be one of the trickiest route to travel across. So we need to take a lot of care while traveling the hill. Obviously, there are two different conditions while we are talking about the hill climbing. The first one is uphill condition, second one is the downhill condition. When we are talking about the uphill condition, some of the things are need to be ensured that our driving or our control on the clutch and brake must be in the proper coordination. The second thing, we need to prefer only the lane driving. We must ensure that we travel in a single lane. There must not be any overtaking while traveling across the uphill condition. Second thing, whenever there is a slippage of the vehicle or whenever you are feeling that the vehicle is going back, we need to ensure that it is must be engaged, clutch must be engaged, and it must be in certain gear condition. So that if you are just starting up with the hill, then if there is requirement to put the car in a reverse gear, then you must be having that proper coordination, right? Because a lot of issues are faced whenever we fail to have a control over that. Another aspect, it has been said that it is easy to drive in a downhill rather than uphill. But look at the second case scenario. Whenever there is a certain waviness in the downhill, then also some of the proper control is required. Right? So we need to ensure that we be proper watchful and drive in a single lane. There should not be any hurriness, or we should not go for the lane changing while approaching uphill or downhill condition, right? So that's all about this. Remaining topic we are going to cover in the next lecture. Thanks for watching.